Self-driving cars have been all the rage lately, with Google unveiling their car, Tesla unveiling their autopilot mode in their Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Lexus, Mercedes, all these big manufacturers getting really into it. So I was hoping to discuss that in this presentation. But to discuss self-driving cars and how the technology is implemented, I think it was important to talk about the evolution of the car. Now, one of the first production cars was the Ford Model T. It was a great piece of technology for its time, especially at the price point and the ability to make it produce on a mass scale. It was really something that was cherished, and still is cherished with a large community. But fast forward to 2017, we see a huge advancement in technology and how it's affected cars. We don't have to get outside to crank start our cars every morning. We don't have to worry about dying in a crash. We can go over 40 miles an hour. Seat belts, backup cameras, airbags, AC, thank God. These have all been huge things that have been given to us by technology. But is there a limit on how much technology we should be putting in cars? The self-driving car really became something that was sort of seen as realistic and extremely talked about around 2009 when Google unveiled their first prototypes. They would take these sensors, cameras, computers, and stuff them into regular cars. The main one was a Lexus RX 350 and a Toyota Prius. And they would just start driving them around with a person in as a backup system, because it was also illegal to have a car drive without a driver. After they unveiled their project, a lot of other automakers started taking it a lot more seriously and started trying to implement it into their cars, which we see a lot now with lane keep assist, auto braking, just small things that they're trying to implement because they don't want to go on a large scale. It was really popularized with Tesla unveiling their Model S and its ability to autopilot, so pretty much drive on its own in certain scenarios. Now, with autopilot came a lot of controversy. Tesla is a rather small and unproven manufacturer compared to a lot of bigger companies like Mercedes, Ford, GM, and giving a product on the market that hasn't really been trusted gave a lot of concerned people reason to worry. And not too long ago, there was a man that was killed due to him trusting his autopilot too much and crashing. Which really brings up the main questions. Do we really trust computers with our lives? And do we really trust big corporations? We know computers have glitches constantly, and we know big corporations don't really have morals, as seen with a lot of these big manufacturers like Ford, GM, and Takata Airbags. Not really a manufacturer, but they would justify not recalling cars with serious safety defects because of the fact that it would be easier for them to pay out settlements for wrongful death than to pay to recall these cars. Do you really want to have a car that could have a serious issue, but the manufacturer doesn't want to recall it because it's going to cost them more money than to pay your family for your death? That's something to really think about. Now, federal regulation. Nevada gave Google their first license for an autonomous car in 2012, which is a huge deal for a lot of reasons. Giving a machine a license to operate itself on public roads is pretty much showing that we trust these manufacturers with our lives. And it was given with the exception of having someone behind the wheel. They didn't have to actively drive. It was mainly the car with the license, which is sort of showing that the government's okay with this. It's accepting it, which is scary. It's not really a technology. Do we really want to be doing this? Now, another issue with self-driving cars is there is potential for significant job loss. There are about 8.7 million workers in the trucking field. This includes truck drivers, dispatchers, stuff along those lines. There are about 250,000 cabs in the United States, along with Uber, Lyft, and other rideshare groups, private limousine services. These are all a lot of jobs that could be lost. Potentially, millions of jobs lost. And do we really have the infrastructure to deal with that? Do we really have the ability, is our welfare system strong enough to handle that many people without jobs? And that's going to be a lot of families that have to worry about where they're going to get their next paycheck. And a lot of these people aren't really qualified to go in their field. Now, there are a lot of pros to self-driving cars. If implemented correctly, they will be extremely safe. Driving and car accidents in general is one of the most dangerous things you could do. It's one of the biggest causes of death in America. Self-driving cars would be communicating with each other via GPS signals. So they'd always know where the other one is, they'd always know how to stop, and they'd always be able to predict the other one's move. Obviously, this is assuming that they don't have any glitches, that the computers are completely functioning. But they're also cheaper. Now, when you buy a regular car, you can drive how you want. With a self-driving car, it's going to be able to accelerate at the most efficient speed. So you get the best gas mileage, and it might not have to stop as much, if at all, considering it will know where the other car is going, how to get there the fastest, with using the least fuel. And that sort of goes into the third pro, being environmentally friendly. Using less fuel means less emissions, less greenhouse gases, helps combat climate change. Also allows for electric vehicles to be taken more seriously, because your car can go and drive itself to the electric charging station whenever you're going shopping, which really helps with range anxiety. The cons are still very large. It's an extremely untested platform, and it can cause significant job loss. It being untested really gives a lot of Americans, worry, which is completely reasonable. It's something that we can't really give up yet. It's something that's really ingrained in our culture, and we still can't really trust computers today with all the hacking going on and glitches from your phone. It just sort of adds up into being a very questionable category. Overall, I think self-driving cars have a potential in this world, but they need to be extremely well tested, extremely well regulated, and we need politicians that understand the technology and understand how to make these as safe as possible, and maybe have a slow implementation of them in a way that can appease people that don't want to give up driving on their own, and people that just want to sit back and let their car drive themselves. I also think probably within 50 years we could see this becoming a real potential thing. So I think it has a lot of potential, but it needs to be extremely well regulated. And yeah, thank you for watching.